thought came out of nowhere. It's really, I mean, I had never had a company before. I didn't go to school for business. I had no education in business. And, the thought just occurred to me. It said, hey, you can start a business. It said, why is anybody else different than you? That they have multi-million dollar successful businesses. They're living the lives that they want to live. They have financial freedom. I said, what's separating you from them? And I thought to myself, I said, the only thing that's separating me from them is my perspective, is my thoughts about myself. And, there was no fear going into this thing. For me, it was like, it's a do or die thing. Like when I made the decision, that was it. Like I'm an all in or all out kind of guy. So, if I'm not going all in on something, I won't go in on it. So when I made that decision, I said, whatever happens, and this is the honest truth. I said, if I die in this whole process, I'm gonna whatever I have to do to make this happen, I'm gonna make it happen. And so, I went in, I gave my 2 weeks notice, and it was funny because, all the big bosses were sitting in the office, and here I come, and I was a really good worker because I do the best that I can, no matter what, no matter where I'm at, no matter what my job is, I'm going to do it 100% to my ability. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm giving you guys my 2 weeks notice. I'm going out and start my own business. And the first thing that they did is everybody laughed in the room. And you know, and then, once they all got done laughing, they all looked at me and they're like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So once they knew I was serious, they offered me a raise, which was like, I don't know, it's not crazy. It was like $1, maybe even less than that. And, I made my mind up. I said, I'm going. And I actually left sooner than that, but I left on really good terms with the company. So they said, if anything happens and, you need to come back for whatever reasons, they actually filled out a form and a contract that said I'd be able to return. So I left on good terms and out I went to start my own business. I might have had maybe two or $300 in my bank account at that time. I had no driver's license, no truck, um, no vehicle. I was running back and forth to work in the morning, and I just went out. My plan was to just, I had a piece of paper that I typed up my services on, that things that I felt like I knew that I could do, like cleaning gutters or mowing lawns or cleaning windows in the houses or raking up or fall cleanups, things like that. And I just went door to door, knocking on people's door and talking to them. So I'm going around and I'm knocking doors and I'm selling jobs. And eventually somebody said, "Hey Dave, can you put a fence up?" And I said, "Sure." Because I couldn't beg and choose or pick and choose what I did. So I'm just whatever they asked me to do. They could have asked me if I knew how to split an atom. I would have said yes. I could split an atom for you. Whatever it was, I was out there. I was going to get it. I was going to figure it out. I was going to do it. Nothing was going to stop me. So so they say, yeah, you got the job. I give them a price, and so I'm YouTubing this fence like the day before I do it, and it's not making a whole lot of sense to me. It was a big vinyl fence around a property. It was a big job. And so I get out there thinking, okay, I'm gonna be able to, figure this thing out. I'm gonna have time to think about it. We'll just get it done. I'll take my time. And so I go out to my first house and, my first fence job, and like the whole family is out there. Like they made an event out of this. They invited their friends over, their relatives, or everybody was there, and all eyes were on me. They're outside barbecuing, they're talking to me, asking me questions about the fence, and I have no clue what's happening here. There's all these parts falling out of there, taken out of the package, and like, what's this for? And I'm like, making things up. And
Oh
I
my
actually went
goodness.
back to my truck and had to sit in there and watch more videos. And so, anyways, I get this fence up. It takes a lot longer than I thought, but I made a really nice profit on it. So I said, hey, there's money in this. So I started pursuing just fences, vinyl fences, wood fences, aluminum fences, chain link, ornamental, whatever kind of fence. If somebody had a new fence job and said, "Hey Dave, can you put up some high tensile horse wire?" I would start to research that. My first job would be kind of slow as I was figuring it out, but then I would become good at that. And let me tell you something. I became an expert in fencing because I got the jobs that nobody else would take. And I would get done doing these jobs. They would be extraordinarily hard. They would be through the woods, up the side of mountains, in the city where there was hardly any space to move around back there or get equipment back there. And so I really became an expert in that field, having to navigate really turbulent waters. So that's how I got good at it. And, I did that for years, running crews. And I bought one truck, then I bought another truck, then I bought another truck, started two crews, three crews, and then I found out where the money was really in my business, because I said, "Oh, you're going about this all wrong, Dave. The money's not in installing and selling these fences. The money is in selling the product." So people were selling me the fences from a wholesale distributor, and I was putting them in. So, minus my material cost and my labor and my top margin came off of that. So then one day I'm going in to buy my fence off my distributor, and there was two pieces of paper on the desk. And one of them had my name on it, and I was looking at it, and there was two money figures on there. One was like, I don't know, like maybe $5,000 it said, but then on the other side it said like 11,000. And I knew like I was paying $11,000 for the fence. Okay, so I'm looking at it and I'm starting to think, I'm like, wow, I'm wondering if that 5,000 is what they paid for the fence and the 11 is what they sold it to me for. And they snatched the paper away and they said, don't look at that. It's none of your business. And I said, hey, I was just looking at it because it had my name on it. I wasn't. But then I started thinking to myself, I said, well, what if I can find a wholesale distributor, a wholesale supplier, and get truckloads of the stuff. And so that's the route that I went, and that's what led me on the journey to what I have now, which is a 15,000 square foot warehouse. We have CNC machines, production staff, inside sales, outside sales, administrators. We got the whole nine yards there. We got a showroom, and we tore the place out, and it's an amazing operation right now. We got cutting edge, state of the art CNC machines, and we just do a ton of business, and it's been an incredible journey. Before I started my company, this was in 2014, the very beginning of 2014. I was homeless. I was a hopeless drug addict sleeping in a cemetery. I
Wow.
was sleeping in a cemetery in the city, and I remember, I had gotten sober, and I was in prison before, and they let me out. And I remember it was cold outside, and I went to a local park, and I was said, maybe I could sleep in that slide. And I went to the slide, and there was somebody like, "Yo, man, that's my slide." They were in there, so there was people already sleeping in the slide and sleeping in the park. So I didn't really know my way around the area that well, and I remember just walking up the street, and I didn't want to drink or use drugs again. And I remember some prayer just sort of like came out of my mouth. Like I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, "Oh God, please, I need a miracle," you know. And so I just said it. I just kept walking, and I found a cemetery. So I started sleeping in the cemetery. Well, one day I was walking past this place, and it was called Life Beacon Foundation down in York. And I remember I seen they had a gym on a loading dock, and I love to lift weights. And I just wanted to talk to somebody about that gym and say, "Hey, is there a way that I can use that gym?" Because I could tell it was a private thing. It was like an outdoor type of deal. And I remember the guy, Bob, said to me, he goes, "Where are you coming from?" After I asked him for the gym, I said, "I'm coming from the cemetery." He goes, "You living at the cemetery?" I said, "Yeah." And I had this little bag of clothes with me. It was in a grocery bag. And he goes, "Is that all your clothes?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, no questions asked. The guy goes, "Okay, you can sleep in that house over there. We have a room on the second floor, at the very end of the hallway." And it was a skills house for like teaching men like how to live again that were out of prison. But what was crazy is that that house, that that house was right there in that specific location when I said, "God, I need a miracle." That house was right across the street from me when I said that, and then I ended up there. And so that's what it was. There was another guy in my room that was like the size of a bathroom, and I started my business out of that room. In business, you just gotta take risks. You gotta take risks because you cannot in my world, you can't do the math because the math will scare you, like, that is way too much. How am I ever supposed to afford that much overhead? $34,000 a month in overhead, that sounds insane, but you can't do the math. You just gotta go for it, and I just went for it. I said, "Whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna do. I gotta crank sales up." I said the we named the office the war room because that's where we went in and we did war. It was all about sales. It was all about selling whatever fence companies we could out there, drawing in people from the public to come and look in our showroom, and we did it, and we did it in abundance.
All
Yeah.
right. So, how did you keep going? I'm sure there must have been times where it just would have been too much for you. How did you keep going?
You know, um, like I said, it was one of those things where like, listen, I was either going to do this or I was going to die trying to do it. So there was never like, "Hey, Dave, just back out. Go back to work." It that doesn't work for me. And so things would get very, very difficult. And, fear starts to creep in. Like anybody that has a company that's going around like, "Oh man, I can't do this." And then what are all the people going to say that all the people that said that I couldn't make it, they're going to be celebrating, they're going to be popping champagne bottles, and they're going to say, "Dave, we told you, come on back down to our level." And, you know, I just changed my perspective on it because for me, I didn't have anything to lose. There was no further going down for me. What was I gonna do? I was gonna have to, tell them, "Hey, I can't afford the $120 a week on the rent," all that stuff. So, I put the fear has to take a back seat in business. Fear is not healthy in business, and you have got to take risks. And I'm telling you, to this day, sometimes I put it all on the line. I
Uh,
put it all on the line. And I was friends with some real estate agents that I had met doing work. And, one of them was an expert in marketing. And I reached out to him and he's like, "Dave," he's like, "I feel like it's my purpose to help you out." And I said, "Okay." So he started to help me out in different ways to market. And all of a sudden I got this idea. I was like, okay, these real estate agents are connected with a lot of people that are buying homes that need work done. And I said, how do I get in front of these real estate agents? And then how do I get them to know me? How do I get myself to stand out? So I knew I wanted to give them something, to bring it like a gift, but I didn't know what it was. So I was just sort of like walking around Walmart aimlessly in there. And I said, when I see it, it'll come to me. Then I seen these little toy Tonka trucks. And I said, it was a dump truck on the back of it. They were cheap. They already had some of my company logo colors on them. And I'm like, "This is great." And then I went back into the office section and I found the little business card holders. I got a hot glue gun and a hot stick. It was just coming together for me. And I was able to print these little tiny labels on my computer that had like my company. I could put my company name on it, and logo, and HIC contractor number. So I fitted these trucks out and I filled them with candy. And I would go to all I made a list of all the real estate agencies that I knew, and I went in there and I hit him with the spiel, like I did door to door. I said, "Hey guys, I just want to, could I drop this off and put it right on their desk?" And they'd say, "Oh yeah, sure, Vic. There's candy in it for the office, for whoever." And I had my business cards in there, and the first time around, nobody really said nothing. Nobody really said nothing. So I come back around again. I kept a list of them all and say, "Okay, I see you guys you guys got a lot of the mints left, and you guys are running low on the Reese's. How about I'll take the mints out of here and I'll give you guys all Reese cups." So I was interacting with all the different real estate agents, and eventually after like the fifth or sixth time, they'd say, who are you exactly? What do you do? They wanted to know about me. And so they started recommending me to all their clients, and the work was extraordinary. Like our phones were blowing up all the time, and it worked really, really, really well. And it works really, really well now too, because especially in this market where everybody is buying and selling their homes, you
Yeah.
know, um, one of the first things they ask is, "Hey, do you know? I got a dog and kids. This house doesn't have a fence. You know anybody that puts fences in?" And I'm always in front of them. Our cards, our catalogs are there. Our trucks are there. Our candy's there. So they're gonna say, "Future Solutions, here's his card, call him up," and so that's a big source of our revenue is from real estate agents. You
W-
gotta think outside of the box.
Wow. Wow. So how much did one of those trucks? So you bought a Tonka truck, you got a card holder, you hot glue gunned it on, and you filled it with candy. How much did one of those trucks cost you?
Around $30.
And how many did you distribute to the real estate agents?
16?
And so, okay, so how much is that? I'm really bad at math, so let's.
16 and 30 is 300, like 480.
So you spent
Say
four hundred
500
and
with
eighty
tax.
dollars, and you probably got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of business.
Yeah, I mean, just one fence is gonna generate, around four to $5,000 in revenue in take home.
Wow. And just from building these relationships with the estate agents and using this like Tonka truck as your leverage, I just feel like that's just so genius. It's
No,
so
it's
amazing.
it's great, and I wanna tell you something that's working really, really good now, is we actually made door hangers, and they got QR codes on, they're super smart, they're right to the point, people know it's about fences, and we actually found a way to find all these new communities that were just built, and so we got guys on the new 9-bot Segways, right? They got 30-mile range on them, they go, like, 14 miles an hour, and they roll up on the segways and put door knockers right on people's house. And if we're in the neighborhood already building, which we're building in a lot of neighborhoods, we have 8 crews going at a time out there installing. So, they knock on the door, they spiel them. It's a coupon. And I'm telling you, so, let's say we do one house in a community, we end up probably getting 12 or 13 other houses like that.
Wow. So one of the people from your crew goes out and door knocks and puts those
One of
door
our
hangers.
salesmen, yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
the thing is they can cover 18 miles of houses on that Segway and not even break a sweat on that thing.
Wow.
They're not walking, and sales is a numbers game. The most important thing in being in business is your relationship with your staff, because your staff is your company. Um, my turnover rate used to be horrible. I would get hire people from anywhere. It's from you know, uh, soup kitchens to rehabs. It didn't matter if they were just at first it was just like a transaction to me. I expected X amount of work out of them. We paid them cash, all this stuff. So I got so sick and tired of everybody just quitting. We were getting screwed all the time. There would sometimes we get two, three people quit at a time. So I started realizing that I got to really build my relationship with my staff. And so I started working in different benefits and, insurances and paid vacations and paid holidays and bonuses and stuff like that. But, they like that. But what really changed everything was this, is that we started not a weekly, not a monthly, but a daily meeting. And, it's just a 15 or 20-minute meeting in the morning where our whole entire team is in the office. I'm there for this meeting. And it's not like your regular staff meeting, like, hey, did everybody get their quotas today? And is there, anything that we need on the production floor? It's like it's a laid back meeting where we really care about the people. Like, hey, how was your weekend? Anybody got anything successful they'd like to share today? And it's more like a motivational thing. And we talk about our goals and where we're going. And some people got weight loss goals. Some people got goals to get a new house. Some people got goals to get a new car. Some people got goals to be a better father, to be a better mother, to be a better husband. Some people got goals to control their spending. And things like that. And we got a goal board in there, and we go over, we hold each other accountable. And it turned into a real family setting there, where you know they're just not a transaction. They're a part of our family. And the guys that are in our company and the ladies that are in our company right now know that it's not a dead end job, that they have a real opportunity to be sitting at the top. And they see our company just exploding, going from 300,000 a year to 1 million a year to 2 million to 4 million, to winning all these awards. And the atmosphere is charged. It's one of, I don't have to push them and say, you need to be doing more. They do more because they want to do more, and because they get recognized for doing more. And we just have, every million that we hit, we have a staff party. I let them pick it out. We did a smorgasbord, then we did paintballing. These are paid for events. The whole day's paid for. And then we pay for the whole entire event. And then we let them pick it out. We do donations. We donate whole entire fences, like the install and everything the families in need, and we let them go through all the people that send inquiries in, pick somebody out, pick 3 candidates out, and then vote on one. So I'm out of it. So if it's like a
Wow.
really expensive fence, like 600 feet of fence, it's gonna be like a 20-some thousand-dollar job. I can't let my emotions get involved in it. That's what the guys picked out. And so they're a part of it. And we really vetted new staff members. I'll tell you that right now. We made them take DISC assessments, personality tests, ran their criminal backgrounds, checked their references. If they pass through the first interview, they get a second interview where key members of the staff are present. And what they're there for is to see, like, hey, okay, these guys got the skills. That's why they're back for the second interview. But the most important part is, how are they going to interact? What's their attitude like? Are they a fit? Are they part of our culture or not? Because we don't care how skilled they are. If they're not part of our culture, they're not going to be there. And so my staff has the final say on who actually gets a job there. And it's worked out wonderful. I might have had one person quit, in the last year. So, it's working wonders because they're the backbone. And I let them know, like, hey, listen, you're the backbone of this company, and you guys are the face, and you're doing a good job. And I'll tell you what, it's bought me a ton of freedom. You know what? I do have a business coach now, and he has helped tremendously. He came towards the the beginning of our expansion, and he was just sort of a guy that was dropping by, and he was doing drip sales is what he was doing. And so he's real God orientated. And so he was like, Dave, how are you bringing God into this? How are you using your company for the benefit of God, and to help other people? And I started thinking about it, like, I am in a position to help other people, and I am in a position to spread the word, of God, that I believe that made the change in my life. And that's just for me personally. That's not, I'm not pushing at anybody. And so that's what started these meetings. And that's where the meeting sort of like morphed and transformed into what it is today. It kind of just went through its own little season and its own little changing process.
Thanks for listening to the Rebel Love Podcast, the podcast about love, sex, and relationships. If you like this episode, please support us by subscribing and leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform, and find all the details of this episode and more at rebellove.com/podcast.